Hello and welcome to We Are Venture, the podcast for venture lifestyles. I'm Lara and this is Ruby.
Hi friends.
This podcast is an insight into our personal experience of creating and launching a startup brand. We're here to give you an honest take on some of the highs and lows and what we've learned throughout the journey so far. Hello, welcome. Episode 6. Now, this is kind of following on from last episode. We kind of finished off episode 5 by talking about social media, more from a design perspective, but we kind of want to follow on from that and talk about the actual marketing aspects of social media and marketing in general.
Yeah.
Again, something that's new to us. Neither of us have any marketing experience.
No.
We're fully aware of techniques and ways that people market their businesses. Obviously there's Google ads as well and things like that. There's physical marketing, like billboards and leaflet drops and everything. And then there's word of mouth. And then obviously social media is a big one these days, like Instagram ads. So we just kind of have started by just raising a bit of awareness, haven't we? Because until we have the garment, it's obviously very difficult to advertise anything because we need the images.
Yeah, it's a bit like chicken and egg, isn't it?
Yeah. So, and also again, it comes back to that thing of confidence. It's a new area for us. And so it's all very tentative. And you also hear of a lot of businesses that invest a lot of money in marketing. I know you can actually bring people on board that will help you with it, but you can also pay quite a bit of money just for example, an Instagram ad that, you invest a lot of money in that one marketing scheme. It goes off for a few months and then it just dies. And then you have to start from scratch. Some people obviously it works and then they go from there. But other times it doesn't. You might have a little peak and then a fall. So it's all about timing, I think, for us. And when the time is right, we will happily invest money in that.
Yeah, because I think another part of it is that we don't want content to just go dry.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that we've got things
backlog.
constantly going on that we can document and advertise and promote,
Yeah, exactly.
Rather than being we've hit a little hurdle and we haven't got anything to give.
Yeah. For example, we've launched our website, but it's just coming soon.
Yeah.
So it's all right marketing that, sending people to the website, but then you've got to keep them there. So yeah, it is all about timing. And that's kind of what's going to be happening in the next few weeks, which it'll be really exciting to do a podcast post-launch because we'll be able to talk about, the success of it and maybe what we could have done differently, but also what the steps we're going to take at that stage.
Yeah.
Because we're also starting so small as well. If we reach thousands and thousands of people, but we only have a small MOQ, small number of garments, obviously then there's a waiting time. And so it's, I don't know, it's all about, yeah, exactly.
Let's hope that's the situation.
Yeah, but it's all about small growth, I suppose.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, one thing that we wanted to do was sort of raise awareness locally because for us, that's where our comfort zone is. Start
it
small.
felt a lot more manageable.
Yeah.
And I think in where we live, in such a small knit community, close knit community, everyone knows everyone somehow. And I think because we're trying to approach people on a business level now, it opens up conversations with people that we thought we knew. Turns out we don't, and there's so much more to them that we didn't know at all.
Yeah. Or things that skills they have that you're oh, I didn't even know you did that. But it's just never come into conversation.
Yeah, so I think it was more what we've, one, felt comfortable with, but two, what we felt we needed, which was to network and start talking to people. And rather than branching out and trying to just flood the social media in such a what's the word? Diluted market, I guess.
Or whatever.
Such small fish, big pond kind of thing. Why not start local?
Yeah.
And then word of mouth is so powerful. It's, they say, don't they, that, who told me this?
Is it every one person know I know you.
I was
going to
say if there's someone that you want to get to, every person in the world only has to speak to 5 people.
Yeah, it's something like you're only 5 people away from.
Yeah,
like
so
Beyonce or something. Yeah. It's crazy.
Which, when you think of it like that, I'm like, okay, it's all manageable.
Makes
then.
it smaller.
We can do it.
Yeah. So the idea was, this kind of takes a bit of a detour, really, doesn't it? But we decided to start hosting wellness events in the local community, and that's kind of what this podcast is going to be about. We're going to talk about the idea behind it, like where the idea came from, how we like put it together, some of the experience of that, where we're at now with it. And so basically we started by saying we wanted to host a few events locally, just as a way to raise awareness for the brand, get people talking about it, also to kind of promote wellness in the community. And that's a huge aspect of our brand, well-being, also connecting with new people and just trying
promoting one another as well. So there's been so many people that we've met through, again, word of mouth. Like, someone has brought someone to our wellness events who we didn't know, and it was obviously lovely to meet them and find out what they did. And then that's led to collaborations or promoting one another and really broadening the field, even if they're in completely different industries. And it's been really interesting, actually, to see how things have just knitted into place. And the people that we've met, that, again, it all happens for a reason, doesn't it? But you're like, oh, we've actually got real use for one another. And everyone's relatively like-minded, and it attracts the same crowd. So it's nice to just broaden those.
An interesting topic for me is with events and hobbies and things like that as an adult. I don't know if it's because if it is a post-COVID thing, people are trying to do more and get out there more, or if it was never the case, but because we were younger, we weren't aware of it. I don't know. For me personally, I was always part of different activity groups and sports teams, and so every night of the week, in our household, we had something happening. A few of us had different as I say, sporting clubs or whatever, and that was just a huge part of my life growing up. And then there comes a point where we both go to the gym, so you've got that kind of community. I'll go to a yoga class or something like that.
But unlike you, I didn't have those extracurricular things that I did. So I think now, being a business owner and trying to it was a perfect excuse for me to get out of my comfort zone in an environment I could control and be okay, let's set the tone. What kind of thing do we want to encourage? Rather than, because to me, business, generally, I find very intimidating because I know how naive I am, and I've still got so much to learn, so I think I don't ever want to come across as uneducated or stupid. And there's a lot of stigma around. As soon as you start to say, someone will say, you're setting up a brand or you're starting a business. How's it going? What's your turnover? And I'm like, listen, no. Pause, rewind. Let's talk about wellness events.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's way more within our field of expertise, isn't it? And just to finish what I was saying, I don't think that adults have access to that as much, or unless you, I don't know, maybe it's a new thing. Maybe that's always been a thing. We'll have to ask our parents. I know my auntie used to go to netball on a Wednesday or something, but that, other than that, I don't know. But either way, I feel like it's becoming more and more of a thing. And not that we wanted to jump on that, but we were we can kind of expand on that. So as I say, that was the purpose. It was to encourage these healthy habits, basically getting outdoors, meeting new people, starting a new hobby, trying something new. And because the idea of the events it wasn't necessarily going to be the same thing every time. It was a taster of different things. So it can appeal to lots of different people. And I'll always remember the first one we did. So it was earlier this year. We decided to just do a walk. So all ages, nothing too strenuous. Yeah. Dogs were welcome. And typically the weather it pulled through, but it was touch and go. But it was a Sunday. And we did a small little ad for it. We got decent numbers, and
more than we expected.
And it was lovely. We took our banner and took a group photo. We documented the day or the morning, and it was just lovely to see. I mean, some people already knew each other, quite a few didn't, and it was lovely that even the people that knew each other had like brought a friend or a partner or their mom with them or something. And going around and seeing how the flow of people walking, it changed. Like it wasn't everyone all walking in twos or threes. It was
or
like
with the people they came with.
Suddenly someone walks a bit faster and catches up with this group, and then they walk behind, and then someone else. And we were like in and out,
ducking
mingling
and weaving.
at the front, then at the back, then with someone we hadn't seen in a while, and then gotta go. And it was a hive of energy, wasn't it? And it just went so well. And we had great feedback. We did a little like token at
like
the
a
end.
Parting like gift, I
parting
guess.
gift for people, which was also a little collab, wasn't it, with a friend.
To promote our friends' bakery business.
So, and that was kind of where it started. Then from there, I mean, we can reel off some of the things we've done. We did a yoga event. We did a book swap. And you also did the book.
We did like a mindful reading morning. So it was outdoors. We knew we were going to have the weather. So it was like picnic vibes. And it was basically read together in silence, essentially, but just in company. And it was just so peaceful, so lovely. And I mean, without making out like they were all a like booming success. You know, there were people that morning that dropped out, you know, things happen, things crop up. And there was literally like a handful of us that were there. And that's just the reality sometimes of when we had, in comparison, the first couple of events that we had, big groups of people, you know, and then I was like, I could count on like one hand the people that attended to the mindful reading. And I was like, oh, do you know what? Like we could see it as disheartening. But then I was like, I've still managed to get these people out on a Sunday morning to read in a like lovely environment.
Company.
And we did have like a little bit of conversation and a few moments, you know, and got up and got a coffee and whatever. And it was just really peaceful and lovely. So there's different atmospheres that were created for each one. I think some were really like, felt really like buzzed from. Some, the intention was to just be really relaxed and peaceful.
Exactly.
And then others were like, everyone was just like chatting, but not in an erratic kind of way.
No.
Just like I think getting to know one another.
I suppose, I don't want to call it the danger of it, but the danger of having different types of events is that you don't necessarily create, what's the word? Like the numbers don't necessarily expand because one person might love the walking, the Pilates, the yoga, but they might never have read a book in their life, which is fine. And so they're not going to come to that event. And then you might have someone who loves to read, but they couldn't get down on the floor and do yoga. So like, but we're fully aware of that. And that's not the point of this, is it? Because it's a non-profit scheme or situation. Idea, non-profit idea. We aren't trying to build numbers or make money off it. And that's why a lot of the events, some of them have, we've had to like cover costs. For example, the yoga.
Like it's come out of our pocket.
We've charged a small fee for the use of the venue or something like that. But on the whole, where we can, we're like utilising the outdoors. In fact, one of the events was charitable, which was really nice.
Yeah, we did the forest run, didn't we?
Yeah, Wyre Forest, if you know of the area. Like 5K, easy breezy. Some can walk, some can run. Money donation for charity.
We chose like charities that were special to us, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was gorgeous to say that I think there was like 40 people that attended that.
Yeah.
So, not masses and massive, but like for us to just
have to
encourage like 40
and,
people and to get out and run with us for charity. And yeah, it was, and for people to challenge themselves as well, because essentially this is part of the reason why I wanted to host the wellness events is, really challenging the things that, and getting out of my comfort zone. Like I've had the same group of friends my entire life, and yeah, you're all gold. But I was yearning to meet new people. And I think in business that is essential. Like you have to talk to people, you have to get out of your comfort zone. And I struggle with that immensely. Even the thought of doing this podcast, I was literally like, but I was like, no, I'm going to do it. Like I've got things to say. I want to get it said. And the wellness events are the perfect little intro.
Yeah. I know we have another podcast planned that's about our part in these things, isn't it? And like our, like if you call it strengths and weaknesses, or how we complement each other. Yeah. But it might be worth touching on that like when it comes to the events, like initially you didn't even want to say, did you? Like when it came to gathering the people together and being like, welcome, this is what it's all about.
Yeah, I didn't even want to be up there with you.
Yeah, you were just looking at me like, and that's something that comes quite naturally to me. Don't get me wrong, I'm still not, public speaking is still a bit uncomfortable for me because it's you stood there as yourself. Like I'm trained in acting, so that's being someone else, and it's very scripted, whereas this is like off the cuff. But for me, it just felt natural to explain who we are, what we're about, and what the purpose of doing it.
That's
whereas obviously for you initially it was, but it's amazing really to see how far you've come in that. And how much more confident you're getting with it.
Yeah.
And as you say, like same with the podcast. So, but yeah, it's been lovely, hasn't it? And as you say, if anything, just really beneficial for ourselves. Just we've got a lot out of it, and whether it's something, I mean, this is something we're in discussion about really, isn't it? Whether it's something that we just continue on as we are with, or if it's something that becomes a regular schedule thing, or we do slightly bigger events like throughout
like once
the year.
a month or like every quarter. Or,
exactly. Or if it's something that we do like a ticketed event for like some kind of retreat or like a lot of ideas.
And that's the thing, the vision's there. It's just actually like bringing it to life when it's essentially us funding it.
Yeah.
And
when it's something that like we have to remember, this isn't the this isn't what the business is about initially, is it? Like we are designing a clothing brand. And so this is just an additional like factor really.
Yeah, it's just a way for us to branch off.
Yeah.
And as much as it was almost like there was like a dual motive. We wanted to market the brand and get the name known. And but there was also like a need for us to just like get ourselves acquainted with different people. And it was almost just like a win-win, you know, that they happened to go like hand in hand.
Yeah. And I think because the fundamental like morals of the brand is to do with wellness and like spirituality and everything, I think the wellness events just go hand in hand with that, don't they? And so, it's definitely something we want to encourage. And as it scales bigger, who knows?
Yeah.
But right now, that's been the initial stages of it. And it's been
I've got
lovely,
to say though, the wellness events are one of them. So I don't know if I've actually mentioned this, but my occupation outside of Venture is I'm a hairdresser. So I meet lots of people all the time, but they're usually like regular clients or people that I've worked with for years. And it's been lovely to talk to these people in an environment that, again, was like safe for me and I felt confident in, but to actually broach the subject. And then they told people and they told people, and then it was a recommendation. And then they came in not only to have their hair done, but they were like, you're doing Venture, aren't you? And things like that. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
You know, so small bits, word of mouth, has really been like quite powerful for us. And that's what we wanted, that again, like-minded people were sharing our story.
Yeah.
And hopefully attracting more.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's been...
And it'll be interesting to look back on this long term because, you know, all being well, this is going to be a large scale eventually, not the events, the brand itself, and whether that's worldwide, UK based, but this starting in the local community is just, it's really like humbling in a way.
Yeah. But everyone has to start small.
Yeah. And it's been, it's been really enjoyable. And as we say, we've like learned a lot from it and gained a lot from it. And the next, well, depending on when you're listening to this, the next sort of event we're talking about is, well, the launch itself, because as we've mentioned previously, that is coming soon. And so we just thought the best way to do that is going to be to like have the garments there on display.
Yeah.
And then somehow host an event that, whether you just call it a launch party, whether we try and combine it with some kind of wellness activity, whether we offer, you know, a yoga session, a smoothie, and then a look at the t-shirts. Who knows? Like we have a lot of ideas, don't we? And there's a lot to take into account in terms of venue and whether it's ticketed or not. But that's all really exciting, isn't it? So that's kind of what we're in.
Yeah. And like putting our energy into it at the minute.
Planning.
And what's been lovely is that people have said to us, so when's the next wellness event?
Yeah.
You know, and like inboxing us. And I'm like, oh, this is great.
It's
like
really,
it really
nice.
just like warms the heart, really.
Yeah. And so again, we mentioned We Are Venture page. That's kind of where we've been documenting this, isn't it? So that's where we advertise them. Because again, this is purely like a spin-off from the brand. It's not on the commercial page. It's just us behind the scenes hosting these events. So we put the ads out there. We usually try and create a bit of content and capture the moment, and we put that on the Instagram as well. So yeah, if you want to follow along, We Are Venture is the Instagram. And we_are_, right? Yeah. Just to clarify that. we_are_venture. So that's our Instagram. And that is where, as I say, we advertise new upcoming events. And if you are far away, as a lot of my friends are, like all over the world, they just give us a lot of support from afar. A lot of them are like, love this, wish I could be there. They're like in Australia. But that's fine.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Might go international.
Cute. Yeah, one day. I'm like, yeah, you should. You'd love it. So, yeah, but if you can't, just, obviously follow along. But who knows? It may be coming to a town near you. Okay, so anything else to say on this?
I mean, that is at the minute what we're focusing on marketing-wise. Like, yes, there's like merch and things like that. But again, we're trying to be mindful of what we're actually just like dishing out into the world, that, you know, it's not really essential. So if we can, through word of mouth, the wellness events, things like that, that is ultimately how we are marketing our brand at the minute, and in the hopes that it will spread. And social media, we'll continue to chip away at.
You actually have a fairly new friend, don't you, that you met, who is in marketing.
She is,
And so...
Shout out to Charlotte.
So it'll be nice when we start getting like expertise really on it and getting people involved in that. Because again, like in terms of growing our team, we are going to need someone who is in charge of that. And so... Yeah, and
similarly to majority of the people around us that are so supportive, she's one of those people that she goes, it's unpaid, like I'm not even talking to her about it. We'll be at the gym talking about normal stuff, and she'll say, oh, I had this idea, or, you know, like so invested in pushing people to be better, and she wants the best for us and our brand, and that's the people you want to be around. And I hope that we encourage to approach us or like follow, you know.
Exactly.
Because it's not a competition at the end of the day. And I think that's what people get really caught up in. And they don't like to be vulnerable. They like to be seen as the best. And really accomplished.
Yeah.
I think the journey and being vulnerable and having those like ups and downs is like what's the special part, really. Because
at the end of the day, I'm going to finish on a bit of an inspirational moment. Now, I was just going to say there's room for everyone in every industry. And whether that is, I know in my industry as a performer, that is a huge aspect of it. Like the competition is ridiculously high, but no one is the same. And there's room for everybody. There's jobs for everybody. And I think same with business. Any idea you have as an entrepreneur, like there's always space. And in trying to, push someone down or not give them good energy, you're only creating negativity towards yourself as well, in a way. And I think the better vibes you give off, it will all come back to you. In other words, like
the
karma,
law of attraction.
Yeah, law of attraction. Karma is real, all those kind of things. And so I think, like you say, when you start surrounding yourself with the right people, and again, these events that we were talking about do try kind of attract that. The right people just encourage and uplift, and then you remember them as well. Like it's crazy how in months' time, years' time, we can be like, oh, Charles said about that. Should we see if she can? And that might be when we're, I don't want to sound big-headed, but like a multi-million pound. No, but
further down the line.
When we're huge. And
when we're profitable.
Yeah, exactly. It could actually be, we could, help her in return in a way or get her involved.
Yeah,
and who knows, honestly. So I just wanted to finish on that note because I feel like it's important to say.
Very lovely of you.
Yeah, thanks. I guess
for now, marketing-wise, that's us in a nutshell, isn't it?
Like, it is.
That's the efforts we're making to try and get the brand out there.
Yeah.
The next thing we potentially look at is ads and things like that, like social media ads. That's the next step that we can take.
Yeah.
But again, we haven't wanted to promote too soon when we haven't got much to show.
Yeah.
So we're at this point now where we're chomping at the bit and the bulk is on its way. The clothing's going to be here so soon. And I feel like then we're just going to hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And
very excited. Yeah. So I definitely think we should circle back to this topic, as I say, whether it's post-launch or even a lot further down the line, but to really like give some insight into the next steps that we're about to take, because as we say, we don't even know what they are yet. We're kind of like waiting for that moment, aren't we?
And I think it would also be lovely for us to touch on like our differences and similarities as well and how that's benefited us.
Oh, yeah.
I think that would be...
Yeah, we've got a lot of ideas, haven't we?
Yeah.
So please subscribe, do all
Share,
the things.
Follow.
Yeah. If you didn't know, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, and we're also on YouTube if you want the visual. So you can see the facial expressions and
any support we'd be grateful for.
Yes. Thank you so much.
So thanks again.